Hello there, Virgo. Thank you so much for stopping by today. This is going to be your monthly in-depth forecast for the month of August. So I am going to be breaking August down into 4 different time frames so that we can look at what's going on with the flow of energy as you move through the month rather than just looking at it as one general overarching thing. Okay? So the first time frame that we're looking at is August 1st through the 8th. That is exactly a week and a day. And then after that, I think our next 2 segments are just a week each. And then we'll have one last segment with an extra 2 days on. So anyway, while I'm shuffling, let me just say thank you for the thumbs ups on this video. Thank you also to those of you who are sharing this video with others who may find it useful. Thank you, of course, to those of you who are buying readings from me. It is because of all of your support that I'm able to do what I love to do for a living. So I do very sincerely send out my thanks to all of you. La da 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 da, la da da da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da da. Da, 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 da. Okay, so for Virgo, for the time frame of August 1st through the 8th, the first thing we're going to take a peek at is your environment. What do we have happening here? Okay. You have an interesting combination of cards here. It looks like you are not very happy with your environment, not feeling satisfied with it at all. But we have another card here that talks about things going very well. So the only thing that I can figure here is that now that things are going well for you in general in your environment, you're starting to realize that there are things that you want to improve or change or upgrade or update about that environment. So while things are going well, it's almost like there's this spotlight of, you know what, I'm not stressed out about this, that, or the other. Things are going well. I've got some money set aside. I can pay for this upgrade or this update or this addition. So I think that you are starting to really look at some improvements that you can make in your environment, Virgos. Next, let's look at your subconscious leanings. Subconscious leanings, Virgo, August 1st through the 8th. Whew. Looks like you're having a decision to make and you're really working on tuning in, tapping into that intuition and that inner knowing. And it looks like your decision is whether you want to cut something off and call it complete and done and finished, or whether you want to bring it back from the dead and restart on it all over again. And so your subconscious is really working on that decision, and it's trying to figure out, okay, what's my intuition actually telling me about this? Not what are my emotions telling me, not what is my logic telling me, what is my intuition telling me about how this decision would work out best for me to go. Might be a great thing to get a reading on, just saying. Alright, so next thing we're looking at is communication style and learning style. We are going to go ahead and start with learning style. There's definitely some information, some very specific information that you're going after during this particular time frame. And I think you're really digging in, you're digging deep to find it, but at the same time you are keeping in mind the bigger picture as well. So you're keeping your objectivity as you're doing that. It feels to me like there is some illusion or some misconception. There's some haziness around the information that you're looking for right now. And some of that you kind of just have to wait and see till it clears up. La da 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 da, la da da da. Alright. Next we're going to look at communication style. I do think that your communications during this time frame, a lot of them are very, very emotional. You may even have a point where you just say something. Something just comes out that you weren't really planning on saying. It just comes up out of reflex, just automatic. It just can't be held back. I do see a little something coming up from that, just coming out of your feelings and maybe even out of your subconscious. As far as communication, also, I see you as being, I don't know if I want to use the word haughty here. You've definitely got some self-confidence going on. You've got some swagger here. There is some communication that you're putting out there that I think could be put out there in a more sensitive way. So you may want to sort of be aware of how you're putting yourself out there to other people in your communications. Are you being sensitive to their needs, or are you focusing everything all on you? You know, some people are all about talking about you. Some people kind of sometimes need to talk about them once in a while too. So you just want to be sensitive. Make sure that you're not coming across as one of those people that's all about me all the time. All right. And it does also, as far as communication style, I'm still looking at, I do see that some of the communication that you're giving to somebody else is a gift. So I think you're giving some compliments. You're letting people know. And notice, I said compliments. I did not say flattery, Virgos. I can already feel some of you going, ooh, so I've got to kiss some butt here. No. No. We're not making up pretend things that you're acting like you like. These are true compliments. So you're giving somebody some true compliments during this time frame that actually really mean a lot to them. Not flattery. True, genuine compliments. All right, let's move on, shall we? Let's look at work and inner work. We're going to start with work. Oh, it looks like you've been released from doing something that seems like you've been doing it for a long time. You're released from that and you're working on something else now whenever it comes to work. So you may go from an old job to a new job. I don't see that you particularly despise or hate the old job, but I do feel like the next job it gives you more of a chance for expansion and to step up and room for promotion, that type of thing. Okay? If you're not actually going from an old job to a new job or from home back to work, this could also be a change of position within the same company. But there's definitely something going on where you're being released from one type of situation work-wise and into another. La da da da. Seamless transition is what I'm hearing. Now let's look at inner work. La da da, la da da, la da da. It looks to me here, Virgos, like you guys are remembering something from your past that you really enjoyed a lot, and you're finding ways to, and when I say your past, I mean your childhood past, like way back there past, and you're figuring out how you can incorporate that into your work currently. Isn't that a neat idea? Something from childhood to incorporate into adulting? I like it, and it looks to me like it's making you very happy, actually. So that's your inner work. La da da da, la da da da, la da 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 da. Next thing we're going to look at is that part of your personality, which is being grown or expanded during this 8-day time frame. Woo. Wow, powerful cards here, guys. You guys are shutting down communication with a very particular person and going into hermit mode. You're spending some time doing some recluse mode and thinking about what makes you tick, what makes you happy, what makes you angry, what makes you sad, all of that good stuff that makes you who you are. you're thinking about that. And I think you're also, what I'm hearing is you're also examining those buttons that people have been pushing and how they push them. Why do those buttons work? You're considering all this. You're really analyzing all of this and pulling it apart because you don't want people pushing your buttons anymore. So you're figuring out ways to deactivate those buttons. Now, this person that you're cutting off from could be a Capricorn, maybe. We've got a Devil card here. But to me, this is more about somebody who uses fear as a way to manipulate. So it doesn't really have to be any particular zodiac sign. Some people just do that as more of a negative aspect of themselves. Or somebody that you've just been in a generally toxic relationship with, and you've realized, you know what, it's time for me to step back from this. I think in your stepping back, as you're trying to unravel those triggers so that you can't have your buttons pushed anymore, I don't think that you are planning on staying away from this person permanently. I do think you're just trying to figure out ways that you can make some changes so that the interactions with this person don't have to be as toxic going forward. That's what you're working on. Okay? And this person may be somebody that you can't get away from. Maybe it's a baby daddy or a baby mama, and you know, what are you going to do? They're in your life. They're in your life. Okay? Or maybe it's a neighbor. Maybe you own a home and they own a home and you've got mortgages and you've got this neighbor. So it comes up to me, this isn't somebody that you can just completely rule out and get out of your life. It's somebody that you're going to be interacting with. You are just looking for a way to interact with them in a more healthy way, Virgos. All right, let's see what's coming next. Here we have those things that you stand for. La da 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 da, la da da da. Okay, so Virgo, it looks like you've had to make a spur-of-the-moment decision. And you had lots of options in front of you, and that spur-of-the-moment decision, you decided to go back to something that is coming up from the past. The implication with this card is that going back to this thing that was from the past might not have been the healthiest decision you could make. It seems to me that this thing from the past that you've gone back to is something that you already know has a negative influence on you. You had other options in front of you. You impulsively went back to this thing from the past. And now you're having to defend that action to somebody. There's somebody in your sphere of influence who's concerned when they see this happen. And rightly so, really. Rightly so. So you're having to defend yourself and you're having to tell this other person, look, it's more complicated than you think it is. So why don't you just step off the curb, Jack, and let me handle my life. All right, so how that person is viewing you after this little conversation. First of all, they're having a hard time trusting you, tell you the truth. And it looks to them like you're just waiting around, just waiting to see what happens. They don't see you as actually making something happen as much as they see you waiting around to see what happens. As you continue on, well, the word Spirit's giving me is as you continue on with this foolish adventure. I'm not sure if these are the exact words that the other person is going to use with some of you, but I wouldn't be surprised because it looks like this is something that you started as a leap of faith and it got off track. And whenever it got off track, you decided, well, I'm going to keep it going anyway. Maybe things will get better. And so now you're hanging around hoping that things get better. And you're not being very honest, or at least this person feels like you're not being very honest about what's going on with the people around you. I think that you already know in your heart of hearts that this was stepping backwards instead of stepping forwards, but it was what you wanted to do. There are some times when our minds can know that something is a good or a bad decision, But our hearts just can't go along with our minds. I've seen that a bunch. And it looks like that's what's happening with you. Like, you know what a good decision would be here, but your heart just is not ready to go there yet. It'll get there. Trust me, it'll get there. But right now, it's just not. And that's okay. You can't beat yourself up for that. All right. Let's look next, Virgo, at the pivot point of this time frame, or when things start to change a little bit for you. I do see you coming into partnership with somebody, and this could be a business partnership, a friendship, a family relationship that's getting more bonded and closer, or this could be a romantic partnership. But I do see you coming into partnership with somebody. As you come into partnership with somebody, a couple of things are happening. First of all, excuse me. Sorry about that. First of all, money, finances are getting a little bit easier, a little bit looser as you come into partnership with this other person. And secondly, you are giving up some of your control. Do I sound like that might be a bad idea? I'm kind of a control freak. Maybe this is a good idea. Maybe you've been loaded down with too many decisions. But it looks like, you know, money is getting better, material goods are getting better, but you are handing some of the control over to this new partner. Might be a good thing. I don't know. You would know. All right. Now, what else is going on as you're partnering up with this person? Is somebody else or the same person? Oh, we've got something going on with somebody else here too. So it looks like you're cutting off communication or cutting somebody else out of your life as you partner up with this other person. You're saying, you know what, I've made my choice and now it's best if we don't talk. I don't know if you're being that open and upfront, but that's basically the gist of how things are here. And it looks like you had actually been on a break from this other person anyway. Whether this is, you know, a professional contact, whether this is somebody in a more personal area of your life, you had already been kind of on a break with them, like you hadn't really been doing everything with them that you used to do. Now you're just making it official. You're letting them know. You're basically saying to them, look, nothing has changed from when we first decided to take a break, and I think it's just better if we make this break permanent. All right. What else is happening at the same time? La da 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 da. Okay, so there's something that you're not feeling really good about right now. And when I say right now, I do mean sometime August 1st to the 8th. But there's something that you're not feeling really good about. And I feel like this is about yourself, like your self-esteem, your opinion of yourself is low. And it looks to me like you're deciding to hide that side of yourself from anybody around you. You're deciding to create some types of illusions. So you may be lying to somebody about things that, you know, something that you don't feel really good about yourself. Maybe you've got a big temper issue and you just don't want to tell somebody, or maybe your finances are not as good as you would like them to be, and so you're hiding that. There's something going on in your life that you've made the conscious decision, you know what, I am not going to let anybody know about that. I am going to do the dance around the mulberry bush if anybody asks me about that. Okay. So, how does this time frame end for you, Virgos? I think that you're pretty happy as we come into the end of this time frame, tell you the truth. I think that you are no longer looking at life through rose-colored glasses. You are no longer trying to bend over backwards to help other people. I think you really have decided that it's time to focus on you. Isn't that interesting? We just saw you come into a partnership, but you're finding that it's time to focus on you and not so much that partnership. We're doing a quick about face here, really. This is just saying, yeah, you don't want to put any energy or effort into it. So something has happened here. Something's happened in between these two in between these two sets of cards. because you're very happy not to be putting energy or effort into that situation. Okay? Or maybe this is a situation where you cut somebody off that you're happy about the idea of not putting energy or effort into it. But I don't think so. I think that's that new partnership. You're already done with it. And you're happy to be done with it. Seems like some dramatic things must have happened. Alright, so anyway, that's your first time frame, Virgo. I'm going to go ahead and take a break, and then when I come back, we'll hit your second time frame for August. Hello there, Virgos, and we are back. This time we're going to look at your time frame from August 9th through August 15th and see what comes up on the cards for you. Okay guys, cards are on the table. Let's take a look at your environment for the time frame from August 9th to August 15th. There's a lot of confusion around your environment, and it looks like you're feeling like there's some kind of partnership or agreement here, some kind of partnership that you are forced into or forced out of. Probably forced out of. And I don't think it's voluntary. I don't think you feel like you have a choice. I mean, technically somebody would say, oh, the choice was yours, but there's not a lot of options here. I think that you're just taking the option that you have. There is a lot of confusion leading up to you doing this. So there's something with your environment where there's some kind of partnership ending. Maybe a roommate is leaving, or maybe you're leaving a place that you're leasing, or I don't know, maybe you feel like you need to sell a house. But there's something going on, and this could be work environment or school environment too, actually, even. But there's a lot of confusion around a decision that needs to be made about a partnership, and I feel like you end up feeling like you need to come out of whatever this partnership is around your environment, whether it has to do with another person in the environment or whether it has to do with a contract allowing you to be in this environment yourself. I think that's going to play out one way for some of you and another way for others of you. For some of you it'll be about somebody in the environment that you're breaking partnership with, and for others of you it'll be something about the environment or whoever you're leasing from or buying from, whatever, that will be broken. Excuse me, frog in my throat. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to look at today, right now, Virgos, has to do with your subconscious leanings during this particular time frame. Okay, so what we have here is, it does look like there's something on your mind about money being tighter. And that's not really, that has you not thrilled, let's say. I think that's a good way to say that. That has you not thrilled, but there is something going on that you're really liking. So, there's something happening that you're really happy about, and I think because of this thing that you're really happy about, you're putting yourself into a position where money is tighter, even though you're less than thrilled about that. I think that this has to do with either a person or an activity that you really enjoy or really love. If it's a person, you know, this could be, you know, if you're with somebody You know, maybe what's going on is you're deciding that, you know what, our relationship does better if we don't have a roommate living in the house, so we have to kick that person out. And that makes money tighter because you don't have rent coming in from that person. That could be what's going on in your subconscious. Doesn't have to be exactly that, and I'm sure it won't be exactly that for all of you, just for a handful. But definitely subconscious is working on you're doing something for somebody that you care about greatly, or for some activity that you really, really enjoy. And whatever it is that you're doing is actually making the budget a little bit tighter, and you're not really thrilled about that. So your subconscious is kind of on this seesaw of, well, this thing makes me happy, but this thing doesn't. And so your subconscious is really trying to work out the balance there. Work out the balance, count the cost maybe. That type of thing. All right. Next we're looking at communication style and learning style. We're actually going to start with learning style. And learning can be anything from if you're taking classes all the way down to you're curious about something and so you're asking questions or Googling things for information. But what we have coming up for learning style is definitely have a lot of curiosity. I don't feel like your curiosity is focused in a particular direction right now. It's a bit scattered as we go through this time frame. In other words, there's a lot of different things that you're curious about at the moment. I think some of the information that you're gathering is coming in sort of a hazy or clouded way, so you're getting maybe some really general information, but not anything that is super specific or super usable when it comes to acting on the information. But you are getting a lot of good information from a different source, and this information is actually going to end up being very helpful in helping you figure out your direction and your purpose, at least as it pertains to the next few months, is what I'm hearing. Okay? La da da da. Next we're going to look at communication style. Okay, so I think that you're communicating some very bold ideas right now, and I think that as you communicate those, I think you're communicating these bold ideas to a lot of people, and I think that you are making sure that as you're telling people about these ideas that you are presenting them in the best, least offensive, most acceptable way possible. And definitely, I feel like you're definitely highlighting the high points. This to me almost looks like you could be launching a new business, or you know, you're definitely trying to get other people on board with something here. Maybe you're looking for investors for a project, but there's definitely something where you're trying to get people on board for that communication style to show up the way it does so strongly. All right, next let's look at work, Virgos. Workity work, work, work. Okay, I'm just chuckling because one of my cards here, a person is wearing a mask. Not the type of mask that we see when we go out shopping or whatever, but nevertheless a mask, and more of a functional one than a decorative one. So that's kind of cracking me up, but it's also telling me that at work you're being really careful about not passing along anything, not catching anything, trying to be conscious about germs and, you know, not throwing those around everywhere is definitely a feature that comes up about work. That's interesting. You know, out of 12 signs, you would think that would come up for everybody about work right now. You guys are the first ones that this is actually shown up for in a reading. I think you actually may be taking a break from work. Maybe you're going on vacation. I'm seeing that you're really good at what you do. But it may be that there's some kind of, for many of you, it may be that there's some kind of shutdown because of the whole idea of germs transmitting, that you're taking a break for that reason. Um, yeah, it could be that you're going on vacation too from work, but with this whole mask coming up front and center for me, it looks to me like even if you're taking a vacation, you know, it's a very cautious type of thing where you're definitely making sure that even as you're doing recreational things, you're social distancing, you're wearing the mask, the face coverings, whatever you want to call it now. But I really more think that you guys are staying at home. I don't really have anything about movement here. I think you're staying at home. I don't think you're sick. I really don't think you're sick. I was looking at this thinking, well, are they not feeling good? I don't think it's you that's not feeling good, but I do think that this may be that wherever you're working, they may be asking you to close the doors for a little bit, or maybe there's quarantine while you wait to get a test result back. But you definitely don't feel sick. You definitely don't feel sick. But I do feel like there's some kind of downtime coming up from work, and I feel like it does have to do with some type of illness, if not the corona, something else. But I don't think you're sick. I think it's about the idea of sickness. Okay, so enough wandering around that topic. Let's look at inner work. Inner work, Virgos, I think you guys are actually at a point where you're realizing time to amp up on my immune system. Time to do the things it takes to make my immune system stronger. And so I think that you are, you know, definitely honoring the social distancing, but I think you're also making sure that you get enough rest, enough self-care. You're doing the things that it takes to strengthen you, you know. Maybe you're taking garlic supplements. Maybe you're, I don't know, eating pickled garlic. I don't know. There are other things, turmeric and all that stuff. Maybe you're doing some things to be very proactive about keeping your immune system in high performance mode, just to make sure that you're cool. Okay? But I think inner work is about that. Inner work is about keeping your strength up, keeping your health up, working on that immune system and making sure that it's in good working order. In good working order. All right. Let's not major on that or harp on that. Let's move forward. La da 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 da. Virgos. Where are you being grown or expanded right now? This is interesting. So you have somebody in your life, Virgo, who has shown you their true colors. And once you've seen their true colors, you're not so, they're not on their pedestal anymore. You've kind of taken them off of whatever pedestal you had them on. And you're not thinking as highly of them. As a matter of fact, you're thinking so little of them right now that you are cutting them out of your life effectively. And I think that they are even, I think they're even approaching you and saying, you know, I really want to come back into your life in whatever capacity they were in before. And you're not having anything to do with it since you've seen their true colors. That's just a done deal for you. It's not negotiable. That's where you're growing or expanding. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, next thing we're looking at is something that you stand for. Ooh, baby, baby. You guys have some really nice cards here. So there was something that was really stressing you out, and you have managed to come to a point where either that situation has changed or you have done some healing work on yourself, either emotionally or spiritually, to get to where it just doesn't bother you anymore. You're not stressing on it anymore, okay? So that is awesome. You are manifesting. Like you have actively participated in manifesting that lack of stress and that new peacefulness or refound peacefulness for yourself. And you have done this on your own. You've done this independently. You have done this really by the bootstraps yourself without anybody's help. You're proudly, independently handling this. And so somebody's confronting you about this and you're standing up for it. Like, why wouldn't you stand up for it? It's obviously something that's healthy and that you need. Why would anybody confront you on it? Unless they're the ones trying to put the drama and the stress in your life and you were like, no, I'm not going to get stressed out by that anymore. That's the only way I can see that really happening. La da 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 da, la da da da. Looking at how the person who confronted you is viewing you, we're fixing to find out. Oh, I'm hearing you don't love me anymore. They think that by you not reacting to their drama that you don't love them anymore. I always think that's comical when somebody's a drama king or a drama queen and they try to pull that. Isn't that hysterical? Like, how do you not laugh right in that person's face? Like, come on, be more secure than that. Allow me to be healthy and you be healthy too. That's what I want to say. All right, so anyway, enough of the Amista commentary. They feel like you don't care for them anymore, that you don't love them anymore. They also feel like you're holding back, and you are. You're not getting all upset and all drawn into their drama anymore. You're not getting stressed out on their behalf. But they're feeling like also, well, this isn't done. This isn't over. It's almost like they intend to suck you into their drama. And I don't feel like this is a mean, malicious person. Maybe they have narcissistic tendencies, maybe not. I'm not seeing that specifically. But I do feel like they don't feel secure unless you're all worked up whenever they're all worked up. So if they're stressed out and you're not stressed out, they feel like you don't care about them. And so the first time that they see you not stressing when they're stressing, then they're feeling like you don't love them. Now they're going to try to do more things to have you stress out. They're going to be trying to push more buttons, and I think you can expect that, especially with this coming up straight up and how this person views you. This isn't over. We're going to make Mr. or Ms. Virgo upset. It may not even be a conscious thing for them, but they're definitely going to be bouncing on your last nerve, let's put it that way. Have fun with that. But I do like it that you are getting more healthy. That idea of reducing stress in your life and really, feeling independent. There's a certain power in being independent that really can't be replaced by anything else. All right. La da 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 da. We're looking at the pivot point during this time frame for you guys now. I think this is a week, isn't it? 9th to the 15th. Pivot point during this week. La da 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 da. Okay. So you have been being really quiet with somebody. We saw that earlier, that you were cutting somebody out. So this pivot point is you've taken some time to think things over, to look at what makes you happy, what makes you sad, what makes you trigger, all that good stuff. And now you're ready to come out and be around people or around a particular person again. And so we see you coming out and communicating, with somebody around you. And as you're communicating with them, I think you're being straight up honest. I think you're not smiling and pretending things are okay when they're not. I think you're being straight up honest with them about the things that are issues that need to be dealt with. You're basically putting all your cards on the table and asking them to put all their cards on the table. As you're coming out to have this conversation with this person, you have no plans. You're not attached to any kind of outcome from this conversation. You're not attached to the idea of you guys partnering up. You're not attached to the idea of you guys going your separate ways forever. You're not attached to the idea of you guys being friends at the end of this. You're not attached to any sort of idea around this conversation. You just know that this conversation needs to be had. All the cards need to be put on the table. You guys need to look at the situation honestly and openly, and hopefully they'll be honest with you too. I can feel that from you. That's what you're hoping for, so that you guys can move forward in some kind of informed way in the direction that makes sense. So I don't feel like you're attached to any kind of outcome here. The only thing you're really attached to is, you know what, I'm going to just say these things have been bothering me. These things I really like. Where are you with this? And see where it goes. I don't think you're pushing for any particular thing. Okay, so as that is happening, Virgo, Virgos, I think you're being really generous and magnanimous with this person and offering this chance to communicate and get everything on the table. I see a little bit of resistance coming in from this person. They're not so fired up about the idea of being totally and completely honest and getting all the cards on the table. I'm hearing that they would rather play their same old games, because those games have always worked for them before. You've always given them what they wanted when they played those games before, and so they think they're going to play the same old games whenever you have this conversation. Are you going to let them get away with that? Are you going to fall for that? What else is going on at the same time? Oh, you are falling for that. Okay, so here's the problem. Here's what's going on here. This person is trying to tell you, oh, everything's going to be different. All these things that you have issues with, I will fix those. I don't have any issues with you. And this is going to be after they get over their little sulking fit that they have to actually be honest. They're not going to be honest. They're not going to tell you about the things that bother them. They're also not going to be honest with you about a few other things, okay? And I think that if you guys do get back together, which I think you're going to actually from these cards, I really don't see things being that much different. I still don't see things being really reciprocal here. I do see this person focusing on you and on the relationship. So if this person is somebody that has been suiting other people, shall we say, or if it's a professional partnership, if they've been suiting other companies or other vendors, I don't think they're going to do that anymore. I think they're going to pay attention to you and focus on you. And I do see you coming back. And same thing for you. I think if you've been dating other people, or if you've been talking to other people who are this person's competition, I think you're dropping the competition and you're coming back to this person. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't think this person is shooting straight with you. Because even though this person is dropping any competition, there are still some things that they're not sharing with you that need to be worked on from their perspective, and they're not planning on putting any energy and effort into working on things that you really need to be fixed. They're only going to say that they are. Okay, so where do we see you at the end of the week? Where did I say this was going? Where do we see you at the end of the week? We see you really thinking, oh my gosh, I made a massive mistake here. And I think you're trying to make the best of it. You are definitely communicating. You're giving advice. You're trying to tell this person, look, if you want this to work, this is what you're going to have to do. This is what's going to have to happen. And so I think you're communicating with them a lot. And I think they're communicating with you too. I think there's a lot of talk going back and forth. But I gotta tell you, I wish I could say that I felt like this was healthy communication that's actually going to move the relationship forward. But I really have this sense of this other person really just wanting everything to stay the same. they'll say whatever it takes to make you happy so that they don't lose you. But when rubber meets the road, really, nothing's changing. Nothing's changing. Might put on a good foot for a week or two. 2 weeks might be a little too long. Might put on a good foot for a week. Let's say that, Virgos. But nothing is really changing. Okay? All right, well, that's what we've got. You've got the heads up. You get to do whatever you want to with that information. You can make things work differently if you want to. Free will, baby. Free will changes everything. All right, let me wrap this up and take a break, and we'll come back and do some more in a little bit. Hello there, Virgo. We are back again. Whoops, you guys just had one card fall. We're going to take that. Even though it was early in the shuffling, I was already talking to you. So I think that's valid. Anyway, we are back again, and this time we're looking at the time frame from August 16th to the 22nd. Take a peek and see what comes up during that time frame for you. If you guys feel like zooming past or scrolling past the time where I'm shuffling and putting down cards, no worries. You're not missing really any kind of vital information by doing that. Feel free. I keep this in. Oh, there's another couple that jumped out. We're going to take them. I keep this portion in because some people really like to witness the shuffle and the cards being put down. Even though I don't have a camera on the cards, I know you guys can tell what I'm doing at least. But if you're not into that, then no worries. See you later. Okay, Virgos, let's take a peek here at what's going on for you. Okay, first thing we are looking at is environment, and the environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. Usually it's home, but sometimes it's work or school, etc. You want to kind of keep an open mind about where I may be talking about here. It does look like there has been some kind of victory in the environment, something that you have completed or accomplished and you're feeling really good about. Whatever this does, or whatever this is, does seem to loosen up the budget again. I know last time frame we were talking about the budget got real tight. Now you're loosening, this is loosening up the budget for you. And I do think that this will be requiring between August 16th to the 22nd, this will be requiring you to come up with some kind of financial upfront investment, or I don't know if I want to use the word investment, but you definitely are going to be putting something out financially to get into this position where you've got something completed, and this is going to actually add to your budget. The first thing that comes to mind when I think of this would be something like if you upgrade your windows from some that are old and drafty to some that have, the newest technology, that's energy efficient, that's going to be helping you on your energy bills. It doesn't have to be Windows, that's just an example, but there's something going on where you are putting out some money to make some kind of change that is going to be loosening up the budget or the monthly expenses or weekly expenses as you go forward, however that pans out in your particular situation. Woot woot. All right, next thing that we have coming up, that could also actually be renting in a new place that actually costs you less, but you have to put down a deposit to get in. That could be how that plays out for some of you. Not all of you, but some of you. Okay, next we're going to look at your subconscious leanings. Ooh, you have a choice to make, Virgos, and there's really not a bad choice here once you actually look at it well. It's interesting, though, because I think you're having a hard time realizing that there's not a bad choice. Like, whichever way you go is going to be good. You are feeling really restricted. There's something going on as you're looking at this choice where you have something going on with your perspective that is limiting you or restricting you and how you're looking at this and how you're seeing this. So, if you're feeling limited or restricted in this choice, you want to kind of step back and look at it from, the bigger perspective. Try and look at it from the bigger picture. Bum 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 bum. What is this? I think that either way you go with this choice, you are going to be putting out a little bit of money. Maybe you're choosing between which type of classes you want to take, or who knows. Who knows what? But anyway, whatever you choose, you've got a good choice here. So, and your subconscious is working on that and weighing that out. So hopefully your subconscious, you get to that point where you are seeing where you're limiting or restricting yourself and turning loose of that limitation or that restriction. Okay, next up, Virgo, we are looking at learning style and also communication style. I think you're having a major epiphany when it comes to learning style. There's going to be a whole new great understanding that comes in for you during this time frame from the 16th to the 22nd. And I think that this is going to impact your money, or it's going to have to do with your money or your finances. I do think there are other things, of course, that you're finding out about or that you're learning about, and those things are more having to do with just curiosity points, things that you're interested in and questioning, asking about, that type of thing. La, da, da, da. As far as your communication style, there's definitely somebody that you're being very vague with during this week. You are not giving them the full information at all if you can help it. However, other people, I think you're giving lots and lots of information, as much as they want and as much as they can handle. And I think that you're really enjoying some of the conversations that you have during this time frame as well. All right, let's move on now to work for Virgos during this particular time frame, 16th to the 22nd. La da 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 da. You're definitely picking up more responsibility during this time frame. So it could be that somebody's off from work, or it could be that you're going back to work. If somebody's off from work, you're picking up their responsibilities. If you're going back, you're picking up those responsibilities again. You could be getting a promotion. Here's my thing as I'm looking at this, though. I'm not so sure that you wanted these responsibilities exactly. So I'm not so sure that this is a promotion that you want if you're getting a promotion. This may be something that you've been saying, no, 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 every time they ask you to take it. No, I'd rather not. No, I'd rather. It's going to take too much time. I need more family time. This time, you're letting down those boundaries. This time, you're taking that promotion. And I think part of it is personal, because basically I think your boss or your supervisor convinces you that it would be a good idea. Maybe even guilt trips you a little bit in some cases. This is not for everybody, but there's a few of you out there that your supervisor is going to guilt trip you into taking on these extra responsibilities. Whether it's a promotion or just extra responsibilities. Alrighty. La da da da. Let's look next at that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. What do we have? Okay, fair enough. It looks to me like there's some kind of commitment or contract that has been proposed to you, or maybe you've even been in, that has not been a two-way street. The other people have not been holding up their end of the contract, or you signed in for this contract or agreement and didn't realize how much energy and effort you were going to have to put out as opposed to them putting out. So it's not an equal exchange of energy here. And I think that you are really putting your foot down and saying, you know what, this isn't going to fly anymore. This is not a valid contract if there's not an equal exchange of energy or agreement. Now, this can be happening in your personal life, in one of your relationships, or this could be happening at work. This could be this could be a conversation that you're having with your employer or with your supervisor, that maybe it's that same person that guilt tripped you and you're saying, wait a second, I don't know why I let you talk me into that. We're not doing this. But something's going on where there's a contract or agreement that you've been in or that has been offered to you, and you just don't feel like it's really reciprocal enough. And so you're saying, something has to change here because I'm not taking it like that. All right. Next, Virgos, let's look at what you stand for. What do you stand for? Okay. So Virgo, you guys are letting go of something that was having a negative impact on your life, whether it was a negative thought pattern, a psychic vampire, an addiction, an obsessiveness. There's something that you're letting go of that was having a negative impact on your life. To be honest with you, I think it may have been a person who was kind of off and on with you. They could be really generous and wonderful one day, and 20 minutes later or the next day you turn around and they act like they don't even know you. And I think you're moving away from that. And I also think as you're moving away from that, you are really cutting out communication, or you're cutting communication down to a minimum as you move away from that. For a lot of you, this is going to be a friend. I think for a lot of you, this is going to be a friend. Or someone that you used to consider a friend, maybe a family member, but for a lot of friend, I think. La da 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 da, la da da da, la da 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 da. Next thing we're looking at is how other people perceive you. They perceive you as somebody who wants to have calm, peaceful, harmonious, happy times with other people. And they see you as somebody who is not letting the disappointments get you down, but looking at the positive things and moving forward with those positive things. And also, I was chuckling because one of these cards, what I literally heard Spirit say is not taking the bait. They're seeing you as not taking the bait. So where somebody, where you had to, where you felt like you needed to move away from somebody who was hot and cold with you, they're seeing you as, you know what, they're not taking the bait anymore. They're not letting this person just be around whenever they feel like it and disappear when they feel like it. They're seeing you as not taking that bait, as you're just not going to be a sucker to that anymore. And that's how they're perceiving you. Okie dokie, smarky. Let's look next at what I consider to be the most important part of this spread, which has to do with the pivot point, or the time where things sort of flip into a different direction. Doesn't even have to be a whole 180, but just moving off into a different direction where it was before. We have some really cool stuff here, actually, for your pivot point. La, da, da, da. First of all, this has to do with friends all getting together, having an idea, getting together and coming up with ideas about money, finances, material goods. So this could be getting together and talking with friends at a quilting bee. This could be getting together and talking with friends about, I want to do this arts and crafts fair, and getting ideas for different things that you could each enter. This could be friends all getting together with ideas about starting an investor club. This is something about, this is definitely friends getting together to support each other in a positive way, having to do with money and income, finances, material goods, and to really share ideas, maybe even brainstorm about ideas about things that you guys can do together, so that each of you can all move forward together financially or materially. That's way cool. I can see how that would change things. Okay, next. What is going on at the same time as this positive money idea with friends is happening? There is somebody who you really like and enjoy. And this person is super logical, and they may have quit communicating with you, and I think you're feeling heartbroken about that. This may have more to do with business than personal, although I can't really take personal off the table here. But I will tell you, I'm seeing lots and lots and lots of women in this spread. And I know, like, what is it, 97% of my viewers are female? So to have one woman in this spread, yeah, maybe we've got, maybe we're looking at a same-sex relationship, but to have this many women all coming up in the spread, I think there's a lot going on with friendships and support network as well here. And so to me, I think this is somebody who is, I think that you really like them a lot. I don't know if this is a lover or if this is a friend, but there's something going on where they have cut you out, and that is causing you some heartbreak or some heartache. Let's see what else is going on here. So you're investing with a big group of friends. That's way cool. And then on the side, you've also got somebody over here that's like not talking to you anymore. What else is happening at this time? Ooh, yeah. So I think that getting together for these ideas about how to increase your finances or increase your resources, I think that you are coming into that. It looks to me like you're pulling out some money or something that you have stashed away. If this is a quilting bee, maybe you're pulling out old fabrics, but you're pulling out resources and you're combining them with other people, and it's making you stronger. And so there's definitely collaboration going on here. It's way cool. Now normally with, like, I've got the Five of Wands showing up here, and I'm seeing this as you combining resources and working together. Normally a Five of Wands is competition, and everybody's kind of, competition is not necessarily making everybody all stronger as a group. But if you look at this card, look how strong those hands look. All these hands coming together to build something or make something. That's how I'm seeing this card right now. And maybe that's just my psychic eyes. Maybe if I was looking at it with physical eyes, it would still look competitive. But for me right now, it's just looking like everybody is helping each other to build some kind of foundation here. And we definitely have collaboration going on. So I think you are joining in on this collaboration with this group of people. But at the same time, it's almost like a sideline story. There's somebody that's not talking to you right now, somebody that you care about greatly, and that's causing you some heartache. All right, let's see where you are at the end of the week, Virgo. La da 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 da, la da da da, la da 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 da. Even though your pivot point is all about investing with your friends or doing something to increase your resources with your friends, I think this person who's not talking to you is really having an impact, because when we get to the end of the week, what we have is your self-esteem, your self-confidence is really down. And I think you are trying to communicate with this person still. And I think you're doing some kind of stalking, some cyber stalking, or else you're talking to mutual friends. Hey, is this person okay? Like, I haven't heard from them in a little while. They're not in the hospital or anything, are they? Or, what are they up to? There's, like I said, you're talking to mutual friends, or you're doing some cyber stalking. You want to know what's going on. I don't think you really know why this person even stopped talking to you. Or if you do, even if you do, I still feel like you still have this connection that you feel towards that person. And so you're trying to figure out and trying to keep an eye on them, trying to figure out what you can do to reopen those lines of communication. So that's where we see you at the end of the week. Okay? All right, Virgo, let's wrap this one up, take another break, and I'll come back and we will finish up the last part of the month. Hello again, Virgo. Here we are one more time. This time we are looking at August 23rd through the 31st. So we've got a week plus 2 days on the end of that there. So 9 days for this particular time frame. And then after that, I'll have to bid you adieu until September. Let's see, what comes up? What comes up for Virgo? What comes up for Virgo? All right, cards are down, Virgos. Let's take a peek at your environment. Any place where you have energy or effort invested. You definitely have something dramatic going on in your environment during this time frame. It looks like there's some kind of judgment or decision that has been made about you or about your actions that has been made in an unfair or in a corrupt way, so it has not worked out well for you. I think this is causing you to be cut off from somebody in your environment, or possibly even cut off from your environment. However, with that serious note here, you guys are celebrating. So even though this decision was not made in a good way, you're pretty happy about it. You're pretty happy about it. I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm sure you guys can fill me in the comments below if you so desire, but kind of interesting how that's panning out there. Let's look next at your subconscious leanings. Okay. So, subconscious leanings, Virgos, you guys want to start something new, straight off from scratch, fresh. But you're not sure how to do it. And you want to make sure that whenever you start this new thing, straight off from scratch, fresh, you want to make sure that it does not turn toxic on you. And so your subconscious is working on that. How can you make this new thing begin? How can you bring it to fruition? How can you manifest it? And how can you manifest it in a healthy way? I'm hearing this time. So apparently this is something that you've started fresh from scratch before and it went toxic on you. This time you want to start it fresh from scratch and have it go in a healthy way. So that's what your subconscious is working on. All right? It's a good thing for a subconscious to work on. Let's look next at learning style for you during this time frame. Learning style, learning style, learning style. I think you are picking up some really colorful information. Some things that are quirky and outlandish. Maybe a little woo-woo, as some people say. Some people think I'm too woo-woo. But this information that you're finding actually is really bringing you some clarity and helping you to understand sort of the bigger picture of some of the things that have been going on in your life. And I think you're really enjoying this new quirky, colorful, outlandish information that you're getting. Maybe you're literally learning to paint or work with watercolors or colored putty or something. I don't know. It looks like a lot of fun to me though. It really does look like a lot of fun. And I do think also you're learning something about I think you're learning something about how to make your retirement safe. How to financially bring yourself into a good place at retirement. So you got a few things happening. You have a few things happening. La da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da. Communication style. Your communication style changes a little bit as we go through this time period. You do go through a phase where you're communicating things that are more dark. I don't think they're threats, but I think they're worries. I think you're communicating some heavy-duty worries that you have. And as you go through this time frame, I think you start to lighten up. There is still a lot of emotion around your communication though, but I think that you are starting to focus on some of the positives, and you're not just so drawn into the negatives. You're starting to see some of the positives, some of the opportunities, and some of the happinesses around you. And I think part of your communication during this time frame is going to be with the public, to share information with the public. Alrighty, let's look at next. Next we're looking at work. So we're going to look at outer work first. You may have been waiting to do outer work. Didn't we see you taking a break? Was that last time frame or time frame before? Now you're able to move forward. You're able to move forward with work. I do feel like though the work that you're doing is something that does not require any creative power or strategy on your part, and I think that has you feeling a little bit defeated right now, but the good news is you're working. Inner work. That's interesting. For your inner work, it looks like you're discovering something that you would consider part of your shadow side. You're discovering something that you're not so thrilled about in your own character, in the way that you handle things when things are going on around you. And it looks to me like that inner work is to, I'm hearing wipe that out, I'm hearing abolish that. So I mean, you're taking some kind of dramatic action when you realize that this is a part of how you handle things. You're taking some dramatic action with yourself to curb that and to make that not a part of your normal coping mechanisms. It's kind of big. That seems kind of big to me, tell you the truth there, Virgos. Alrighty, let's look next at that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded during this particular time frame. You do have your boundaries up towards somebody who has not been particularly nice to you, shall we say. And it looks like this may be somebody that has to do with family or has to do with tribe. This is somebody that you would consider closer to you. So this could be if you're taking a break from a lover or from a friend. You know, you're just saying, you know what, I said I need some space, back off. You know, this is what's going on. You're actually requiring some space between yourself and other people. You want to take some time to really think things over before you let them come in saying what they need to say and trying to manipulate things into their favor. You need to take some time to get some perspective, and you are ensuring that you have the time to do that. That's where you're growing and expanding. So you might not have held your own on that so much before. Now you're gonna be. August 23rd to the 31st. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. What do you stand for? Yeah. I mean, okay, so this is really screaming breakup to me, whether it's a breakup of a marriage, breakup of a friendship, or breakup of boyfriend, girlfriend, or, you know, same gender, romantic partnership, whatever. This is screaming breakup and let go to me. Things that you stand for have to do with stepping back, to, you know, putting down some responsibilities, not being as responsible to someone as you used to be, and not being responsible to them in part because they're a liar and they've been lying to you. So you kind of took a step back. Like you don't want to have that person in your face all the time not telling you the truth. Who would want that? You've stepped back from them, and you have plans. You have plans to continue to step back from them. If you haven't already stepped back from them, maybe you have plans to step back from them. But I think for most of you, you have plans to continue to step back from them. I think we kind of saw that earlier that you were. So, you know, somebody is confronting you about that. Probably the person you're stepping back from. You're having to defend yourself on that. La da da da. How the other person perceives you. They think you're totally out of control. They think you're a wild child. You're totally out of control. For somebody, this is going to apply directly, like you're going to hear these words, but somebody thinks you have lost your shit, okay? That's not normally something that I would say on a video, but when Spirit brings it through, it's going to be validation for somebody to show up like that. They see you as being depressed, they see you as being out of control, and they see you as just being done. Like you've completed, you've completely finished with something. I told you, I think that's the person that you're pushing away from. That's exactly what they would start thinking. All right, next. Next we get to the most important part in this spread, which is the pivot point or the flex point, however you want to look at that. We're going to take a peek and see what's happening there. Pivot point or flex point. Oh, baby, baby, you guys have a payday, Virgo. And I think this payday has to do with your friends and the investing thing that you did. Whatever it is that you guys did to increase your resources, whether it was financial or otherwise, whatever you guys did with your friends, I think you've had a payday. By the end of this week, you've had a payday. And I think you guys are looking at, okay, well, now that we've had a payday, we have options. What do we want to do with our money? And I think you guys really feel like there's really no choice here. Like there's a hands down obvious winner. Whatever we did before we had this payday, we're going to do the same thing. Like we're going to repeat that so that we can have another payday. So that's what I see going on there. That's way cool and way fun. I like it. What else is going on at the same time? La da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da. I kind of think this is where our sideline story showed up for last week. Yeah, for the last week, the 16th through, what was that, the 22nd. This was where our side story showed up about that person that quit talking to you and about how you were feeling so brokenhearted or upset about that. I think we're talking about kind of the same thing. I think at this point, you're no longer talking to that person. You're just letting them set the pace. You're waiting for them to reach out to you. I also think there's no collaboration going on here, and I feel like you don't even really at this point hope for them to communicate with you at this point. You've just kind of, you've kind of given up. You've kind of wrote it off for, okay, that's whatever it is. Even if I don't know what it is, it's whatever it is, and it's over there in the past behind me. Okay, so la da da. What else is happening besides our payday? Now this is nice. This is really nice. So, it's interesting what we have happening here. It looks to me like, I mean, you guys have a lot of relationship stuff going at the same time. But it looks to me like there is somebody else. I don't feel like this is our same person that we were talking about before that isn't talking to you anymore. There's somebody else here that, I don't know if they're a friend or if they're a lover, but there's somebody that you're partnered up with in some way. And it looks like you've kind of, they've kind of said, you know what, we're not so compatible. I think we should go our own ways. Okay? And it's interesting because when that is said, then that's a shakeup. That's a wake-up call. I think that's a wake-up call for you. I don't think you're expecting that. And you guys have this revolutionary conversation at that point where you really get everything out on the table and you get everything that needs to be dealt with between the two of you out there and dealt with. And because you're putting it all on the table and now you're coming to this better understanding of each other, you guys end up with, even though it started off as being this wake-up call of, you know what, I think we need to go our own ways is what they're telling you, it turns into this where you guys have taken what you used to have and sort of torn down that old foundation that wasn't working, and now how you're moving forward is much more solid, because now you guys understand each where the other is coming from so much better. And so because this is much more solid, I see you guys just that quickly coming back together into partnership, whether it's romantic, friendship, whatever. You're coming back into partnership after having this conversation that lets you recognize the problems from how things were running before and come up with solutions or fixes for those problems. Very sweet. Very sweet. I like that. Communication is the key. Communication is always the key. All right. Let's look at what's going on with you towards the end of the week. La da 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 da. There is something that is coming back around. And this is something that has caused in the past long-term source. It's been a long-term source of tension or debate. And you have felt like that was put to bed and that's done and that's over. But it is coming back towards the end of the week. It's coming back. But you have a great idea about how you can transform that. And we're not talking about the same thing that we just talked about, that revolutionary conversation. This is different. This is happening a little bit later. And I don't feel like this is so much about a friendship. I feel like this is more about, a situation where you were in some kind of tension or rivalry and maybe even treated unwell by somebody in the past. And this comes back, this behavior or this person comes back and is, still talking about that or still doing that or doing that again. I think there's been some quiet time. But I think you have a really good idea now about how to turn lemons into lemonade. And I think that you are going to take this situation and you're going to turn it around into your favor where you profit from it. Maybe even literally. Maybe even you make some money off of this deal. I'm not sure. Are you a celebrity? Does the gossip help you? Does it help your career? I don't know. But I think that you definitely find a way to turn the tables and make this work out well for you. It could definitely bring you something like a job opportunity or some kind of some type of opportunity where you get to actually stash some money away. Isn't that interesting? I would love to know what that's all about. Anyway, that is your month, Virgos. Thank you so much for hanging in there with me. I do appreciate it. Thank you also for all the thumbs ups on this video. That does get this video shown to more people, so I appreciate those thumbs ups. Same thing with the comments. I appreciate them as well, and they get those shown to more people as well. And of course, last but not least, thank you to those of you who book private readings with me, book Reiki sessions with me. I love getting to work with each of you one-on-one. It always is my honor and my pleasure. So thank you. But thank you for all the support at every level, because all of that is what makes me able to do what I love to do for my living. So if I don't see you for a private reading or a private Reiki session between now and then I'll see you back here on the next video. Peace out.